What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Over the Octagon podcast following UFC 313 between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. I think it's pretty safe to say that any true UFC fan is in absolute shambles today. We're going to talk about it. Unfortunately, I don't know that we want to, but we have to. We're going to break it all down right here. If you're not already, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel over on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like the video. If you're listening on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, follow the show. Turn on automatic downloads. Never miss another episode. Play that intro, baby. Let's get into it.
Blood is on the steeple, there's murder on my mind. Guiding all the people to a pretty suicide. I want to live forever, live forever. I'm lying from your side. I can't fucking wait. I don't wanna spend my life with you. I don't wanna do the things you do. I just wanna castle in the darkness and never lose my youth. Never lose my youth. Strange things are coming at night. I feel alive. There's no sense in running. We're living just to die.
This is Over the Octagon. Welcome to the shit show.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the shit show is right.
Yeah.
UFC 313 recap episode from us, your hosts, Evan and Joel. Welcome
up?
back to another one. If you're not already, like I said in the intro, make sure you hit that subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, like the video. We're going to get into everything from UFC 313 that went down last night. We saw, unfortunately, at least for us, there's maybe some haters in the comments. Let us know your reaction to the main event. But obviously, Alex Pereira drops the strap. Magomed Ankalaev wins a unanimous decision over Alex Pereira and becomes the new UFC light heavyweight champion of the world. What are your give me your initial thoughts? I'll give you a minute, man. I mean, just give me a little rant here.
Yeah, I mean, we're 3 minutes into the episode, and I'm just going to let everyone know I'm officially retiring from MMA media and UFC. I've decided, it took a long thought process to decide on this, but I mean, my new name is Jalen Turner, and I just can't do it anymore. We're in a dark spot, and I don't want to watch it anymore. Just kidding. I'm still going to watch it, but fuck, man. This is it's unfortunate to see where we're at now, because there's literally no, like, outside of John Jones, there's nobody that is going to be able to, like, bring the hype to a pay-per-view. I just don't see it. I mean, can you think of anyone outside of maybe Islam or Ilia Topuria that's going to bring hype to a card as a pay-per-view main event? And even then, Islam is really, like, he is, but he isn't, you know? Like, people don't line up out the door to go, hell yeah, Islam main event, and then the co-main's always trash, you know? Like, it's just, we're just not going to see it anymore unless Alex obviously wins the title back. But then again, it's like, now that he's lost, and he lost to who he did lose to, it's kind of like, is his hype even going to be there anymore moving forward, unless he fights like someone like John Jones next, you know? Like, is everybody going to be lining out of the door going, hell yeah, rematch against Ankalaev, I'm so excited now? No. I just don't see that happening now. And then it's unfortunate, because I feel like we're back to where, like, it was, like, you know, last year there was a time period where the UFC was like, oh God, it's happening, it's falling apart. And then Alex Pereira kind of brought it back. UFC 300 kind of brought it back. Like, there was little moments and pieces last year that was like, okay, you know, still exciting, still a good sport. And then, you know, but now we have Magomed Ankalaev as a champion. We have Bilal Muhammad as a champion. We have Merab as a champion. We have DDP as a champion. It's like we have, I mean, and nothing take away against like DDP and other guys as well, but we have Pantoja as the champion, which still Pantoja is a great champion, but he just doesn't get the credit. It's like the sad factor is in this. I know UFC is a international sport, but to know that the only two American champions we have are John Jones and Juliana Pena, it's kind of disappointing to know that in our country we now have no true American champions outside of John Jones, and it just doesn't make the sport entertaining for us. I don't know. Do you feel the same way?
I agree 100%. I think that the UFC as it stands now after last night post UFC 313, I mean, this is a topic that's been talked about leading up to this, and I think is even more so true now. And I'll echo the same thing, is the UFC has a huge superstar problem right now.
Yeah.
In lack of superstars. And I'm just looking at your champions. I agree. I'm a ginormous fan of Alexandre Pantoja, but the casual fan base, as far as flyweights are concerned, it's really not that popular. He's incredibly underrated as a UFC champion and a superstar. Like, let's get that on the record. But he does not have the star power really that he deserves, but he doesn't have the star power that Alex Pereira had going into last night. Same with Merab. Obviously, O'Malley kind of had it, and then Merab took that away.
And now look what happened.
I
division now,
I would say I would have said Ilia Topuria. Obviously, you know me, but Ilia relinquished the belt to move up to lightweight, and now you have Volk and Diego Lopez fighting next month, which is great. Diego Lopez is a huge fan favorite.
Sure.
I don't know that he's quite on that superstar level. Now, if he goes out and beats Volkanovski, and then you see him defend the belt and beat and get his get back against a guy like Mavzar Ivalov, then maybe. But again, it's also a recipe for an even more disastrous situation to where, in 6 months, Mavzar is the featherweight champion.
And I want to interrupt you for a second, and I won't speak on it too long, but I want to kind of elaborate on when I said it's hard to watch the UFC now with so little American champions, because every sport, if you think about the UFC, you think of all the big events. They're all happening in America outside of Abu Dhabi and, the UK every once in a while, But when you have champions that that can't speak English, it makes it hard for them to be a superstar. And we've all known that. Alex Pereira was literally the only champion that didn't speak English that had superstar status, because he fucking said a 5-letter word and the whole world went crazy,
Right.
I mean, but outside of him, we now have no UFC champions that speak English. I mean, Merab can speak,
Merab, Islam, Pantoja can actually speak English. Bilal is from Chicago, even though he wants to wear a Palestine flag on the thing, but he's from Chicago. DDP obviously speaks English.
But they don't have superstar status,
No.
I'm thinking like superstars that don't speak English. There's none. There's no big ones, so it's going to be hard for the UFC to find that superstar, because you got guys who you have the Magomeds now, and you have even like a Diego Lopez. Like we were just saying, Diego Lopez has the potential chance to be a superstar, but he doesn't speak English.
Right.
So it's going to be hard for him. You can't be the next Alex Pereira. It's very, very very little chance that another superstar arises they can't speak English. I mean,
sure,
that's the only thing I'm saying about that. And I love the international aspect of the UFC, and I love champions like Pantoja and Merab and guys, even if they're not American. My biggest thing is the superstar problem, like you said. It's like when you have a superstar, the superstar should be able to communicate with all fan bases.
Right.
And,
I agree.
America has the biggest fan base probably for the UFC. And if they can't even at least speak English, then it's going to be hard for them to ever be a superstar. So
Yeah, Alex Pereira was kind of the anomaly for
Yeah,
that. Is
100%.
I agree with your point in that, but yeah, I mean, back to the superstar aspect of it. I mean, Islam, I guess, would be the biggest superstar, but we've seen like there's not really shown anybody at lightweight that could challenge Islam. The biggest fight that they could probably make would be Islam and Topuria.
Yeah, 100%.
But I don't know that that's a good fight for Topuria, but still, like, that fight exists. That's a huge fight. We'll talk
And I would
more
have
about
argued Pereira versus Aspinall or Jones would have been the biggest fight on the planet until last night.
correct. Yeah, I
feel
agree.
like that's not even a talk anymore.
No. So, and then, obviously we'll get to this when we kind of go through it a little bit more to the co-main event, but Justin Gaethje, at 3 and then getting another win last night, he talked about he wants to fight for a title. There's potential that Gaethje could, fight Islam next. That's a big fight. I mean, there are big fights at lightweight. You do have, some big fights that would draw a ton of eyes and a ton of people. But losing a champion like Alex Pereira, having a guy like Ilia Topuria with the run that he was on relinquish the belt at 145. Sean O'Malley last year losing to Merab the way that he lost to Merab. Close fight, but he just got grappled. And this is the knock, and this might be a good segue kind of into the main event. I know last night's fight was close. The scoring side of fights is really annoying at times. And, I do think that Magomed won the fight. I do. I just think, like, he had Alex Pereira backing up, like, the entire time. But the control time really is what seems to have won him the fight, which lacks damage. So the idea, and this is how Bilal's made his entire career as well, and Merab for that matter, like, these guys just rack up minutes and minutes and minutes of control time with a lack of damage. And it's bad for the sport. I mean, it is. Like, I'm not saying that it doesn't work. It obviously works. It's obviously incredibly successful. These guys are UFC champions. They're the best in the world at winning decisions. But generally speaking, to the casual public, it's bad for the sport. Like, what highlight clip are we putting on social media for last night's fight? Him in a clinch up against the fence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Same thing with Merab. Like,
maybe the knockdown wobble. Or it really wasn't a knockdown. It was just a wobble.
Yeah, I mean, like, they traded shot, and this is why I agree that he won. He won the fight. I mean, because he did get the better of Pereira in stand-up exchanges at times. And he was he controlled the octagon. He was the pressure fighter. All of those are scoring factors. It's just tough, man. It's not great for the sport where we are now after UFC 313, losing Pereira, who was pretty obviously the biggest superstar the UFC had, losing his belt. Like I said, Topuria laying down the strap to move up to 155. Now, if Topuria goes and, beats like a Charles Oliveira at 155 and it makes that Islam fight or something, like, there's a lot of things that could happen. Sure. Like I said, Diego Lopez can, beats Volkanovski, then beats Mavzar Evloev. You have a huge superstar in Diego Lopez starting already. If he's able to do those two things, like, I believe those people exist, but they're all potential, right? It's all just potential superstars right now. There are no current just heavy hitter superstars as champions right now.
Yeah. No, I
tough.
agree. And I will elaborate a little bit because I know we're going to talk about this specific people. But when you say superstars, you made a great post today on Twitter because literally the fighting nerds are the only people that can save the UFC right now. I feel like they're the only group of people who have the potential chance to be the next superstars.
So we get two of them next month. We get Carlos Pratis versus Jeff Neal, and then we get John Silva versus Bryce Mitchell next month at UFC 314. I agree. I mean, it's just these are guys that deliver exciting fights, exciting finishes. Look at Mauricio Ruffy last night. That was the highlight of the night, arguably. 100%. I mean, like you made a comment last night, knockout of the year so far.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an incredible spinning head kick. Those guys are exciting. They make clips, they make highlights, they get eyeballs on it.
I think they all can speak English.
For the most part, yeah. I mean,
for the most part,
broken English, if anything, but I think they understand, how things work from a business aspect. Like they're going to, they're gonna improve in that side of things as well. Yeah. So, but yeah, I did put that on Twitter like this. I was in bad shape last night. I was miserable last night. It was tough. Woke up this morning, not really much better. Like I didn't even, how every Sunday morning you wake up after UFC pay-per-view and you're on TikTok or Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and you're watching clips and like, oh man, that was awesome. Dude, I didn't want to watch anything.
No, because there wasn't anything to watch that was exciting outside of the knockout.
Well, so I'll take it. I'll put it to you like this. Even I was seeing clips of Mauricio Ruffy's knockout, and I was like, I don't even want to watch it.
Yeah.
I don't even want to watch it.
After.
Just because it's like, watching that main event last night, really just sucked the wind out of me.
I know, and it took depressing that we didn't even think that Justin Gaethje bounced back last night.
It took my soul, dude. That shit stole my soul.
I know, we were all like, yeah, we're gonna get off, guys.
Yeah,
we're not even.
You gonna watch the press conference? Nah.
I actually stayed up and watched it a little.
So did I. So all right, let's talk about the main event specifically, just so we can have kind of a clear breakdown on how the episode goes. So. What do you think was the biggest factor last night to Magomed being able to get the victory against Poatan?
Oh, the striking of Alex Pereira. It was not there. I don't know why it wasn't there. I don't know why he was fighting the way he was fighting last night, but it just wasn't normal. I mean, takedown defense. He didn't get taken down once.
Yeah, he was 0 for 11 or something.
So if you would have told me before that fight that the guy who's the most dangerous, feared striker in the UFC was going to lose the striking exchange against a guy who they said was going to take him down and wrestle him, I wouldn't have believed you.
Well, so we did call this previous to last night, and in our preview episode for UFC 313 that. This notion that Magomed is this elite grappler really isn't true. I mean, that's just like that was something people started to say that I don't really know where they came up with. Like, where have you seen him do that? So we kind of spoke to that and then assumed that Pereira would be able to win the striking battle. For me, the biggest factor was that pressure. I think the pressure led to everything.
Yeah, Magomed, but then, though, if you look at like round 3 or round 4, Alex was the pressure in those rounds, and Magomed wasn't. Magomed pressured him for like the first, second, and maybe the 5th round. But like there was time, Pereira could have pressured him the whole time, but he just felt skittish, like timid to do it. I don't know why.
Very hesitant, but that's my point. So when Pereira every bit of success Pereira had last night, it's when he was going forward.
Yeah.
He was getting beat even in the striking exchanges because Magomed just kept pushing him back. a lot of hand fighting. The leg kicks, he landed a ton of leg kicks on Magomed. They just didn't seem to do the amount of damage I think that we expected. I expected that to be a big factor in the fight last night, and it really didn't come to fruition that way. I mean, he landed a ton of them, but it didn't seem to phase Magomed too much really at all.
My prediction of him only throwing leg kicks was pretty fucking spot on. Because that's all he threw, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he threw a couple, switched it up. Here's a strike that we saw last night that was incredibly effective. Do you know what I'm going to say?
The jab?
Magomed's push kick.
Oh, the push kick. I mean, he only threw like 3 of them, but
what? He was throwing multiple every round. That body kick, boom, just step in, push kick right to the center of Alex's
I don't
gut.
recall multiples. I only recall a couple, but it just put Pereira off balance a couple times.
Yeah, but that's, dude, like, you think about it, anytime Pereira started to, get in this flow where he would start to walk forward, boom, right in the stomach, pushing back. Yeah. Now Magomed's walking forward. Now everything changes again. Now momentum's in Magomed's favor.
I will think one thing I was really surprised about, and I think Pereira did not expect this, but I was surprised of how strong Ankalaev was. Like, normally Pereira is the stronger fighter in the fight, but Ankalaev seemed to be the stronger fighter. I mean, he held him up, holding someone up against the cage of that size, fucking difficult.
Yeah.
And he was holding him up. He wouldn't let him, he couldn't do anything.
How do you see I'm fairly confident that an immediate rematch takes place.
I think so too.
How do you see a rematch going?
Same way.
You don't think there's any difference?
No, I mean, unless Pereira works on his, like, I mean, maybe not. Maybe he'll be the pressure next time. Maybe he'll be the stalker, Maybe he'll learn from that, which, I can't say I see the same results, because at the end of the day, the results weren't great last night either. So, I mean, it could have easily went Pereira's way, I think. I mean, Magomed didn't do anything in the clinch. He barely did anything in the clinch. Yeah, there was moments he had big moments striking, but I mean, all it takes is one good shot from Pereira, and that's lights out for you. So it maybe Pereira just didn't find that shot last night, or he again was skittish and is hesitant to throw those big shots because he didn't want to get taken down, or he had the but now he knows that he can, now he knows the takedown threat's not there. It doesn't matter. Now I can fight my true fight, and it may make a difference. I don't know.
Do you think, in regards to a rematch, do you think the criticism that Pereira was getting in the lead up to UFC 313 on the way he was training and how much he was traveling and all of that stuff, do you think that was legit now that after the fight?
I don't want to say that because I don't want it to seem like an excuse of why he lost, but at the end of the day, I mean,
I don't know that it's an excuse. I mean, it's lack of focus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not an excuse. That's on him. Like, it's not like, oh, it was an injury and I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. Like, he could have very well been super focused and locked into a training camp and came out there his very best self. There was all this talk leading up to it on, maybe that focus wasn't there. Maybe he wasn't taking this quite as serious as he should have. And then we see the way he performs last night. Now, in regards to a rematch after losing the belt, I can almost guarantee that doesn't happen again.
No,
right?
Yeah, I agree. That's not happening again.
So now if you get a fully locked in Alex Pereira, do we think it made that much of a difference to where if he's fully locked in now, does that give us a different result? I think it could.
Possible.
Yeah, I think it definitely could. I think that rematch is pretty much a guarantee. We'll see that again at some point this year, Magomed versus Alex Pereira. The trouble is now, we want Pereira to win, obviously. Do you get it? You're going to end up with a trilogy fight.
Yeah, I know. Unless he knocks him out cold.
Yeah, that could be maybe the only way.
Yeah.
Is if
unless
he has
Pereira
a
goes out there and knocks him out cold, and
he has like a Khalil Roundtree type performance, like that
Sure.
fight, right? To where like it was a battle, but then he just pieces him up later in the fight and leaves no doubt.
Yeah.
That would be the only way. But yeah, I mean, and
I will say, I think this is fucking crazy to say, dude, but I really think the age may be catching up to Alex Pereira, man.
It's possible. He's 37.
I think he still looked fast. I mean, he had kicks that came out of nowhere last night.
Always
But
does.
I think Father Time is catching up to that chin a little bit, man.
Seems to get wobbled. Got
Yeah, a
wobbled
little
with some
bit.
hard shots.
And he looks like when he gets wobbled, though, it literally looks like it hurts him bad too. Like,
Is there anyone at 205 you think that can beat Magomed?
yeah, there's definitely. I think we'll see it in the next fight, Carlos Olberg and Jan Blachowicz.
In Jamal Hill fighting? No.
Jamal Hill's fighting Khalil Roundtree.
Oh, you're right. Jan Blachowicz. Yeah. That's in London or whatever, March 22nd. Yeah.
And I still think Jan can be, but then again, Jan's in the same scenario as Alex Pereira is,
Sure.
Up in age, Father Time's catching up. We'll see how that, but Olberg is a savage too, man. Like, I'm curious to see how he's going to hold up against Jan. If he goes out there and fucking steamrolls Jan Blachowicz, then put him right into a title fight immediately.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't even give Pereira a rematch. Give Olberg the straight shot, and then let Alex figure out where he wants to go in his career, because he's Alex is not going to want to rematch knowing he's going to lose the fight and end his career how he did. He's either going to do two things. He's going to either not get the rematch, or he's going to move up, try the heavyweight route, because at least he knows if he goes up and tries for the heavyweight and loses, at least you can kind of say, okay, he tried to go for the three belts. He went out on his shield, whatever. He had a hell of a career, ended at that. Call it quits, But if he goes and loses to Magomed twice,
Yeah,
and then
it's probably over.
It ends his career as losing twice in the light heavyweight division against Magomed Ankalaev. Like, it's not good. It's going to kind of diminish his career a little bit, in my opinion. But I think the best route he should take is, I don't think he should go straight for the immediate rematch. I think the winner of Olberg, Jan Blachowicz, should get the next fight, and then I think Alex should take 6 or 7 months and kind of truly think about what he wants to do next.
Okay. I think, knowing Dana White and the way that he is, I think Alex is going to want the rematch, and I think Dana probably already has it in his head that they're going to do a rematch. And typically, like we saw with the John Jones Stipe thing, like, when that's the fight, that's the fight. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it gets sidetracked. There's Olberg, Jan Blachowicz, Yuri, like, there's really not a guy, unless what you're saying, Olberg goes out and just completely obliterates Jan Blachowicz.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because there's really not a guy right now at 205 that's like demanding by their performances,
sure,
demanding the right to skip over that Alex Pereira rematch fight and jump into a title opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If Olberg beats Jan Blachowicz in a very dominant fashion, you give him
completely knocks his head off, which I feel like, knowing Jan Blachowicz and that just Polish chin that freak has, it's probably unlikely. But you never know.
Because at that point, then you have to look at the numbers. Then you have to look at the history of Jan Blachowicz. Magomed Ankalaev went to a draw with him. Alex Pereira went to a decision with him. If Olberg goes out there and knocks him out, dude, there's an argument. There's an argument to make that he deserves the shot. So that's the way I would look at it if I was Dana White. Okay, well, the two guys that just fought each other, should we rematch them, or should we give them the guy that both of them couldn't even finish and this guy just finished?
All right. So that being said, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities at light heavyweight potentially rematch. You know, we have some fights booked. We'll see kind of how things shake out. Well, I didn't really get your input on this actually. Did you agree with the decision?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Because there's a and I don't know. You know how people are. They're probably like us and are just salty as hell. But there's a lot of people that are like really upset with that decision and
I'm
saying
not
it was
upset with it, but I do still stand by beating the champ to be the champ. Like, if you're going to be the champ, you have to dominate the champion. And I don't feel like Ankalaev dominated Pereira.
sure.
So in my eyes, if it would have went to Pereira last night, I would have been like, okay, still the same UFC. It all makes sense. You got to beat the champ to be the champ. But I wasn't like, okay, I see. It wasn't highway robbery, like our first two fights of the night.
Sure. Yeah.
You know
For
what
sure.
I'm saying?
All right. So let's get into the co-main event. Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. This one fight of the night, $50K for both of those guys. Justin Gaethje gets the unanimous decision win in that fight as well. Gaethje looked good.
Gaethje looked great.
Fiziev looked great on short notice
Yeah.
against the number 3 lightweight in the world. I mean, dude, I almost feel kind of bad for Fiziev because I feel like he's way better than his ranking gives him credit for.
Agree.
Like, it's really insane that he's number 11 in the lightweight division. Like, I feel like he's way better than that. But he gets these opportunities. He loses, he's lost some tough fights.
To Justin Gaethje now.
Yeah, So, but this fight, I think, was exactly what everybody thought it was going to be.
Agreed.
And
we all said it was going to be the fight of the night. So
right. And, here's what else I'll say. If there was any question kind of on where Gaethje's at, I think that got put to rest last night.
Sure.
Like, I think, there was some, after seeing him get knocked out by Max Holloway, people didn't really know, us included, didn't really know how he was going to come back, how that could have affected him. He took, almost a year off. What kind of Justin Gaethje were we going to get? And I don't think it was really a factor. I mean, we got the same patented, crisp Justin Gaethje that, we've been used to for so long.
But the only thing I see about last night and where Justin Gaethje's at is just really, really what's next. Like, everyone in front of him he's lost to. The only person he hasn't fought is Islam.
Well, he hadn't fought Arman either, right? So he hasn't fought Arman or
Islam. Ahead of him.
Arman is ahead of him. Arman's won.
Oh, okay. And then Charles?
Yeah, Islam champ, Arman 1, Charles 2, Gaethje 3.
Okay, so Arman. So maybe that's the fight to make.
Yeah, I mean, he spoke in the post-fight press conference last night about, he wants a title. He didn't really say he wants a title shot like next.
Yeah.
But he said that obviously is still his goal. So, I mean, I think there's a world in which you get, another Justin Gaethje fight, and then, if he wins that, until he took that BMF fight against Max Holloway and he lost, and that kind of derailed his whole, his whole train. But he was, it was pretty much unanimous that he was going to fight for the title then, which didn't end up happening. So I think, what a great performance by both of those guys. A lot of mutual respect shown by both of them. They both agreed, like, let's just never do this again. Let's never fight again unless it's for a title.
Yeah, that's for a title. He's like, he's a tough son of a bitch, man.
Yeah.
I will say, you did say you watched the post conference. Did you see where they brought some of the fighters out and you saw Justin Gaethje talk?
A little bit, yeah.
Did you see his hat?
Yes.
How badass was that, dude?
Yeah, so he was wearing that. He said it's his golf hat, but it's his logo of him backflipping.
Doing a backflip? That's so
cool. He said they're releasing soon, so Keep an eye out on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin Gaethje dropping some new merch.
I love it.
After a big fight of the night win at UFC 313.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, I mean, just a solid, patented, classic Justin Gaethje performance.
Yep.
Things you love to see. I'm glad we're going in this direction. Get the Alex Pereira Magomed fight out of the way. Let's relive some of the positive moments of last night.
Yeah.
The fight of the night was fantastic. Justin Gaethje gets a win. And then I think that top 5 lightweight division is still gatekeeping everyone. It's like the most ridiculous group of fighters. They've been around for so long.
I mean, and then you trickle down to the next fight on the card and you see
yes. Yeah, so you had
another
Jalen
up-and-comer.
Yeah, Jalen Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Bahamondes unranked. Jalen Turner was 13 going into last night. We'll just touch on this for 1 minute. Jalen Turner retires from MMA after his loss last night, which I'm not. I mean, we love Jalen Turner. We're always fans of Jalen Turner. I know you were a big fan of his, but it did seem like, he lost the love. He lost the love for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I did start looking into it more too. And man, I was a big fan. I really liked him a lot. And I was really sad last night when I found out he was retiring from the sport. And then also shout out to our boy, Marquez Forrest. He was just training with Jalen Turner not too long ago for his upcoming fight, So it's like, maybe we need to get some insight on, if he saw anything or noticed anything during that training camp that maybe could have led to that. Like, is Jalen kind of like just lost the love for the sport after, he just couldn't get his brain. Maybe he needs a therapy, dude. Maybe he needs to kind of fix that thought of
like a sports psychologist or something.
Yeah, like the Moicano loss. Cause I think you got to admit though, if you were 10 seconds away from beating the guy who just fought for the title, it would kind of crush me too, honestly.
Right. Yeah, I get it. I understand where it comes from for sure.
But I still believe true warriors would have bounced back from that and came back stronger and better to get back to where they were. But he just didn't. He just, his striking started okay, and then it just from out of nowhere was not okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it ended on the ground. Obviously, Bahamondes never really been touted as a grappler. He's always impressed with his striking abilities.
Yeah.
But
Jalen
last night,
wasn't it?
Yeah, last night off his back. Yeah, last night off his back, Bahamondes got a triangle choke into kind of an armbar to get the submission win over Jalen Turner. Yeah, I mean, Ignacio Bahamondes is only, I think, 27 years old.
Yeah, still young.
A rising prospect coming in the lightweight division that's getting finishes and has exciting fights and, is big. He's 6'3".
I know.
Right? Like, he's same size.
Night, like, it was finally Jalen Turner's first fight to where he was fighting someone his size.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Right. Which could have been part of the issue last night. Could have been a little bit of the hiccup there. It's difficult when you're a lightweight and you're used to fighting guys 4 inches shorter than you, and you have this huge reach advantage, and then you go up against a Chilean fighter with, that's fucking 6'3" and a lot of power, really good off his back. I mean, he's exciting, man. I'm a big fan of Ignacio Bahamondes now. I like the way he fights. He's obviously incredibly talented, incredibly skilled. Exciting to see, what the future holds for him. After a win over Jalen Turner that puts him into the top 15, you would assume. Obviously Paddy Pimblett at 12 is fighting Michael Chandler. Fiziev just came off that loss to Gaethje. Maybe you see him fight a guy like Rafael Fiziev if Fiziev is trying to be a little bit more active.
Yeah, maybe so.
There'd be a huge size. Oh my God. Yeah.
That'd be crazy because
Yeah.
Fiziev was shorter than Gaethje.
Yes. Yes. Is he the one that called out?
He called out. Didn't he call out Benel Darush?
No, I think that was Mauricio
Oh,
Ruffy called
Ruffy.
out Dariush. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
Who did he call out?
I don't think he did. I don't think he made a call out or made a name. But I mean he's gonna, you would assume after a submission win in the first round over Jalen Turner that, you know, he's gonna find himself in the top 15.
Sure.
So look at some of those opponents now, and you know, maybe Fiziev coming off the loss. Moicano at 10. I don't know. That's kind of a big jump, maybe, but I mean, Moicano at 10 is exciting.
That is exciting.
Moicano versus Bahamondes would be an exciting fight for sure. Both are incredibly skilled.
See how quick he got taken down by Jalen Turner last night. I don't know. That's a
Yeah, but then he shows the skills on the back, right? Like they both would be really good grapplers. I don't know if he'd be in Moicano's league. But I don't know. Interesting fight nonetheless. But shout out to Bahamondes. Big finish win for him.
Yep.
Then you had the only women's fight on the card last night.
Skip it.
Amanda Lemos, Yasmin Lucindo. Lemos gets a unanimous decision win. That was a tough fight to watch. That was the piss break. That was the go get a snack. That was which is kind of annoying because I genuinely thought like, oh, this is going to be a good women's fight to have on the card.
Yeah. The best part that came out of that whole fight was Joe Rogan calling Lucindo a guy.
Yeah.
When she walked out, she goes, this guy has a bright future. This young man has a bright future. That's what Joe Rogan said.
There's no hiding it anymore.
Yeah, this young man has a bright future. And then only for her to go out and lose.
Yeah, I mean, I thought so as well. Like, I really liked her. You know, she was on a bit of a 4-fight win streak. You know what I mean? But again, like levels.
You got the Nil Magny of the women's division over here. Just
it's top 5. I mean, and there's top 5 and way more experience.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it came down to. She's Amanda Lemos, regardless of her age or where she is at her career, a ton of experience. She's fought in championship fights. She's fought, the best women in that division in the world for a while. I wouldn't go as like crazy to say like it's like a fraud check because it was just such a uneventful fight. But there's levels to this, dude. You know what I mean? There's definitely levels to this. But yeah, we're definitely not spending too much time on that. Let's get to the performance of the night. Mauricio Ruffy, what do you call that?
spinning heel kick.
Spinning heel kick.
Yeah.
Knocked out King Green. Knocked out Bobby Green.
Kang Green.
Yeah, knocked out Kang Green.
Boy, it's a prince now, my friend. No king. He lost the crown.
Mauricio Ruffy, 12-1 overall. 3-0 now in the UFC. Just adds another feather in the cap to that Fighting Nerds gym. I mean, these guys, you mentioned it already, but these guys are the most exciting fighters in the UFC right now.
Oh, without a doubt.
And he, gets that knocked out. He calls out Benel Darush at 9. Give it to him.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Kill Benel Darush.
Give it to him. He looked really good. He was a heavy favorite last night, and for good reason. Mauricio Ruffy goes out, lands, the highlight of the entire card, in my opinion. I don't even think it's close. You said knockout of the year. I think it's going to be one that's
possible.
Yeah, well, yeah. We're still early in the year, right? But I think that's one that you're going to be talking about, at the end. Like, oh shit, yeah, remember that? For knockout of the year.
Yeah. It definitely could very much be the knockout of the year, unless something crazy happens. Then
So Mauricio Ruffy gets it done. I mean, dude, there's not a whole lot to talk about in this fight. I mean, he dominated.
first round spinning heel kick. What more can you say?
Yeah,
Knockout of the year so far. It's
that Fighting Nerds gym. You have Gene Silva and Carlos Pratis, like we said earlier, fighting next month at UFC 314. I think both of those guys get wins as well. I don't think there's a way to which either one of them loses. I don't see Gene Silva losing to Bryce Mitchell. I really don't see Carlos Pratis losing to Jeff Neal. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if...
Which one's the toughest fight, though?
I don't really think either one of them are tough fights for those guys. But I think, and you're probably going to disagree, but I think Bryce Mitchell's the tougher fight.
No, I don't disagree. I 1,000%.
Okay. Well, I didn't know how you kind of felt about Jeff Neal. I just feel like what we saw last night between Mauricio Ruffy and King Green is exactly what we're going to see with Carlos Pratis and Jeff Neal. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same thing.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say it's going to be because, I mean, go back and watch the Shavkat Jeff Neal fight.
Sure.
So I don't think
Shavkat's really not that kind of striker, though.
I don't think it's going to be a Bobby Green type deal, but it definitely could. But I don't think it's going to be dude, Bobby Green is not fucking good anymore. Was
he ever that good? Sure.
I mean,
sure. But both of those.
But I mean, was he ever top 10 good? You know?
No.
That's what I'm saying. So Jeff Neal was.
Okay. Yeah. So, but you still think that Bryce Mitchell's the tougher fight?
Oh yeah. Bryce Mitchell his fucking ground game is elite.
Yeah, it's dirty.
These guys don't make it to a point where it gets to the ground. So if it does, what's their reaction when you got a guy who's a elite jiu-jitsu black belt? You know?
What are the chances you give Bryce Mitchell to win that fight?
I think the odds are a lot bigger than they should be.
But I mean, give me a percentage chance. What do you think his percentage chance to beat Gene Silva is?
35.
How much? 35, 40?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. 35, I think, is fair.
If it stays on the feet the whole time and doesn't go to the ground, he's no chance.
Depends on how long it is.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get murdered before
sure.
You know what I mean? I mean, in the first 2 minutes.
But I think Bryce Mitchell on the ground is...
Yeah, one of the best in the world.
Yeah, he could definitely if he takes it to the ground, it might be a long night for John Silva. So
yeah, we don't know. We don't know, how good he'll be, right? If he gets on the ground and then Gene Silva just stands back up, we're gonna be like, oh fuck, exactly. Bryce Mitchell's dead.
Yeah,
and that's what I think. I just think these guys are. Everything we're seeing from Mauricio Ruffy, from Carlos Pratis, from Gene Silva, Kai Baralho, these guys just seem untouchable right now. Yeah. Kai Baralho just dominated Brendan Allen in a grappling match.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's crazy to say, but they're on this ridiculous run. Untouchable right now. Shout out to Mauricio Ruffy. Performance of the night bonus, potential knockout of the year candidate already early in March. All right, prelims. Nothing big. I feel like to really speak on. Josh Van obviously got a pretty clear win over Ray Suroya. I forget how they were saying it. The Japanese guy, Josh Van. Yeah, that was a clear win for him. Solid win for Josh Van. Josh Van, hey, dude's an athlete, man. Dude is an athlete.
I like the Josh Van we saw last night, and I actually think he has a really good chance to get back in that top 15 and do some
I think
good
he
work.
deserves to be there. Yeah, I think he deserves a ranked opponent. He deserves to be there. He beat the Japanese guy last night. He beat Cody Durden. He lost to Charles Johnson, right? So that's kind of the one that set him back. But I do think, after watching that fight last night, he deserves to be there. Bruno Ferrara gets a submission over Armin Petrosian. Armin Petrosian,
Yeah.
But Hawk looked good, dude. Hawk
Finish, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
submission. Yeah. Hawk
yeah,
looked
that's right.
really, really
Armbar.
good. He is currently 6-1 in the UFC.
6-1, huh?
Yeah, he lost to Ruziboev by KO, but he's
right.
got wins over RoboCop, Stoltzfus. I'm sorry. No, he lost to Abus Magomedov. He got submitted by Abus. So, 5-2 or whatever. But still, I mean, he looked great last night against Armin Petrosian. So, shout out to the Hulk for that. Alex Morono, Carlos Leal. Carlos Leal got the TKO victory over Alex Morono. That fight was not even close.
Can I take a pause in the break real quick to make a special announcement?
Yes.
Our boy Jackson Smith's headed to the 3rd, 4th place match with a massive victory over the number 3 ranked guy.
Let's go.
The homie. Sorry, I was very distracted for the last 2 minutes watching this match in my corner of my eye, but this guy's takedown defense is unfucking believable, man. And
I know.
He's the only Terp headed to the 3rd, 4th place matchup. So congratulations to our homie Jackson.
Shout out to Jackson Smith, the 184 pound, right? 184?
184. Yeah,
184 pound wrestler for the Maryland Terrapins, who in the Big Ten tournament right now is just earned his way to wrestle for the 3rd place match in the Big Ten.
Yes, sir.
So,
and he's possibly going to be wrestling Gabe Arnold, who's up right now 1-0 against his opponent in the 3rd period. So
he beat Gabe Arnold once. He can do it again.
He could do it again. All right, I'm done on that. I just
All
wanted
right.
to make that special
Hell
announcement.
yeah.
I had to get that out of the way. It was big. It was on there. All the Terps were wrestling at one time. Obviously, you already know what it is. So let's get back.
Shout out Jackson Smith. Good fucking win, baby. All right, yeah. Carlos Leal, Alex Morono, not even fucking close. He made him look like
that were great. So.
Yeah. The minus 750 favorite Carlos Leal did exactly what I guess people thought he was going to do. I mean, he dominated Alex Morono, dude.
100%.
He freaking dominated him. 1-1 in the UFC though, so interesting. Alex Morono. I guess Alex Morono really just has fallen off crazy. He had a really good fight a while ago. I forget who that was against. I mean, he's got a lot of fights in the UFC, but a lot of losses. Like he lost to D-Rod, he lost to Nico Price, he lost to Buckley, Joaquin Buckley, he lost to Ponzinibbio. I mean, Alex Morono has been in the UFC forever. He lost to Anthony Pettis in 2020. I would be shocked if this dude is in the UFC much longer, Alex Morono. There's just no reason I feel like to keep him on the roster other than to just feed him to people. And then what you alluded to earlier, the second fight of the night, which was a robbery of a decision. Myron Santos gets a split decision win over Francis Marshall.
Bad for Francis Marshall, dude. He deserved to win that fight.
Yeah, so Myron Santos won the Ultimate Fighter, the Alexa Grasso Valentina Shevchenko season. This was his UFC debut after winning tough, and gets a split decision win over Francis Marshall, who is what 1, 2, 2-2. So now Francis Marshall is 2-3 in the UFC. So tough loss for Francis Marshall. Yeah,
and I think
man.
Dana knows that too. I think Dana's gonna he ain't gonna cut him after that loss.
No. And I like Myron Santos. I really liked him on The Ultimate Fighter. I mean, he was clearly the best fighter on that show, which is it showed that when he won. But dude, he lost that fight last night. I mean, he lost that fight. There was nothing that he did to win that fight. So that sucks. But, fortunate we had that really bad decision, but then we really didn't have any crazy decisions after that, like any crazy wrong decisions. We had a lot of finishes, KO, submission. Josh Van got the decision. That was clear. Ruffy KO, Bahamondes submission. Gaethje got the decision, which I think was right, and Ankalaev. There really wasn't any, thankful that there was a bunch of finishes because there really wasn't like a bunch of egregiously bad decisions last night, except for that one. That one was really bad. And then the first fight of the night, Ozzy Diaz gets a decision over Jordan Santos. Whatever.
Yeah, who cares?
Whatever. But yeah, all right. Now that I've digested it, we've talked about every fight on the card.
You feel a little better?
I do feel better. Do you?
Yeah.
Are you feeling the same thing? Like I feel like I'm in a little bit better of a mood now.
I am. I agree. And shout out to us last night, man. Ariel Hawini, suck on these MMA nuts, brother. We were leading the pack for MMA podcasting and media last night, bro. With topping out at close to 70,000 views on X alone. That's massive, bro. We led the pack all night, man. Every time I'd look at it, we were 10,000, 15,000 ahead of Ariel Hawani. Like, and who else is bigger? Like, he's
top of the game for sure.
So to see us sitting up top like there, like that felt good, man.
Crazy,
that
right?
Felt really fucking good. Dude.
Yeah. So for anybody that's watching this that doesn't know, if you've made it to this far in the video, you've had to have enjoyed something of what you heard. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, like the video. For all the UFC events, we do a watch along fight companion. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook, our Facebook page. We're live on X. We're live on Twitch. Bunch of different sites. We're really everywhere. Kind of, just kicking back, watching fights, enjoying, talking shit, having fun. We always say, by the fans, for the fans, right? The show. So our fight companions are kind of built the same way. And last night was crazy. Our stream was blowing up over on X, tens and tens of thousands of views. It did really well on YouTube. Also, 13,000 views on the stream on Facebook as well.
13K, bro. That's wild.
Yeah. So very good for us. Very good numbers for us hitting, for a fight companion. So really happy about that. We will continue to do that. So make sure you kind of follow along. Check us out. Come watch some fights with us. Hang out with us. Watch the fights. Enjoy the fight companion. Hop in the chat. Talk shit. Because we really enjoyed.
We must have hit some like Japanese algorithm or something last night
on Facebook.
On Facebook,
yeah, it was really strange. Yeah, really strange.
We were on some shit, bro.
But yeah, incredible. Good night for us. Not a great night for fight fans and for Alex Pereira fans.
Gabe Arnold lost, by the way.
Oh, dude, Gabe Arnold's a bitch, dude. Fuck Gabe Arnold.
Baby. So it's going to be Benjamin Ruth from Illinois versus Jackson Smith for 3rd and 4th. Let's go.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
Can we, and I think it'll be a yes, can we make it the official Over the Octagon stance of fuck Gabe Arnold? Can that be a thing?
Fuck Iowa wrestling, dude.
Yeah, fuck Iowa. Fuck Gabe Arnold. Gabe Arnold's a pussy, dude. Anybody that avoids matchups in the season is a bitch.
Yeah, but
straight up.
Backup though is a savage.
I don't care, dude. Gabe Arnold's a pussy, dude. He wants to wrestle everybody, and then when it came to those dual meets, he's like, he talked all that shit on Carter Starachi, then they wrestle Penn State, and he doesn't wrestle.
Yeah, I know.
Corny as hell.
Because he knew he was gonna get dominated.
Corny as hell. Yeah. Fuck him. And now you don't even place in the Big Ten. You didn't even place.
6th. That's it.
Good for him, dude. Fuck Gabe Arnold. Goddamn. Hell yeah. Happy Sunday. All right, man. Let's get out of here.
Love it.
UFC 313 recap over the Octagon podcast. Thank you for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, like the video. If you're listening audio only on any platform, make sure you're following the channel. Make sure you have automatic downloads turned on so you never miss our episodes that we put out every week. Appreciate it. Peace out, everybody. Much love.